Matthew chapter 5, verse 31. Now, before I start, let me just remind you, we've already been through this, but let me remind you that we're talking about evil intervening, and we're talking about good men. The example. What we find in verse 31 of the 5th chapter of Matthew is a commentary on what we studied in Deuteronomy last week. This is why the Lord is saying, it hath been said, He's referring to Deuteronomy. That's where we've already been, so I'm not going to go back to that. Whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorce. Now, you understand that what we're talking about here is if there has been some, what am I looking for? Shenanigans going on. If there has been some unfaithfulness. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. Now, history will bear out the fact that it has gotten to a point where if a man found anything wrong, he just suddenly got mad at his wife about something that she didn't do something right. He had the right, so he thought. He had the permission from Moses to go ahead and give her a writing of divorcement and say, hit the road. And what the Judaizers, what the religious leaders, what the Pharisees are trying to do now is to trap the Lord into going against the Mosaic law, where he has kept the law and he has, in other words, he says, I am the end of the law for them that believe. But he also says that every jot and every tittle will be carried out in the law before the law passes away. In other words, the law will not pass away, will not be finished, will not be done away with until every jot and every tittle be accomplished or be carried out. So what he's doing here, he's saying, whosoever shall put away. This is what you've been taught. This is what you have heard. And so it had come to a point in the Old Testament where, as I said, if a man just decided he didn't want to live with his wife anymore, he could give a writ of divorce and say, hit the road. Now, he says here in verse 32, but I say, this ain't Moses talking now. This is not the Old Testament talking now. This is the Son of God. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, now, saving or except for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. Now you see what he's done here. He has brought to an end the idea that I can divorce my wife for just anything. That was never meant to be. And we'll find out that he says it was not from the beginning. So he says, then whosoever puts away shall put away his wife. In other words, his wife, who is a clean woman, virtuous woman. If a man divorces her for being decent, then that is wrong. But he says, saving for the cause of fornication, and we went into fornication, and adultery is used interchangeable, desertion. We have to include 1 Timothy 5:8 here, and all of these things. In other words, one verse is interpreted by all of them combined. So we're talking about, first of all, I'm not allowed to put away my wife if there's nothing wrong with my wife, just because she don't use enough soap to wash the dishes. And that's about how ridiculous it has gotten to be. It's just about that bad today. In other words, we'll live together for a little while, and if I don't like her, I'll run her off. Or if I don't like him, I'll just get in the road and leave and go somewhere else and marry another is an evil woman, if she has committed adultery, if she has committed fornication, then you have a right to divorce her and marry again. Because that is also abandonment, that is denying the provision or the, what am I trying to say? The responsibility that has been placed upon you. So he says then, if you do that, then if she is not one of these women who can contain herself and get married again, then you have caused her to commit adultery. And the one she lives with is committing adultery. Any questions? Verse 33. Well, before we do that, before we go any further, let's go back to, let's go to Matthew chapter 19. Something important that I need to say. Matthew 19, verse 3. And I want to show you what is being attempted here. The Pharisees, now this is Matthew 19, verse 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? Now you see where they've gone to, don't you? They've gone back to the law, they've gone back to Deuteronomy, which is a book of law. And so they're reverting back to the law, and what they're trying to do, they're trying to get him to say, no, that law's wrong. If he did, then they got him by denying the law of Almighty God. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. They came unto him, tempting him, saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, have you not read? Now, boy, I want you to notice this. Have you not read the law? Now, they're supposed to be men who is familiar with the law, or they would never have asked the question that they did. You mean you have read the law, you know about, and yet you don't understand or you don't know what the law says? Notice what he's saying. He answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder. Now here's the irony of the thing. The Pharisees came tempting him and asking the question, is it lawful? Here's what he said. Have you not read? Now you don't say this, but this is exactly what he has said. Have you not read? I want somebody to turn to Genesis 1:27. I want somebody else to turn to Genesis chapter 5, verse 2. Yeah, when you turn to Genesis 5, verse 2, then you turn to Genesis 1:27. Jill, you turn to Genesis 2:24. All right, now let's put it all together. The Pharisees came tempting him concerning what he was going to say about the Mosaic law that was given from God himself to Moses. They were trying to trick him. They were testing him. Jesus turns and says, have you not read Genesis 1:27? read Genesis chapter 5, verse 2?
Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, and the day when they were created.
And have you not read Genesis 2:24? All right, now, you listen to me. If you follow that recipe, you won't ever have to be worried about a divorce. You can forget it. Erase it. Get it out of your life. Don't ever think about it. Because the Bible goes on to say, therefore, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. All right, now notice something. Matthew 19, verse 7. When Jesus said what he did in verse 6, watch them as they run back to the law, and I'm not going to go back through this. They thought ahead of him when they went back to Deuteronomy chapter 24. But look again at Matthew 19, verse 8. He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered or allowed. He allowed you to put away your wives, but from the beginning, it was not so. It was not meant to be. God made one woman, and he made one man, and he put them together, and he said, now stay there. And there's only one thing that takes in some other things that will allow for a separation and a divorce and a marrying again. That is adultery, which includes fornication, which includes abandonment, desertion, harsh brutality, treatment, refusing the responsibility that's laid upon the man at the time of marriage. I want you to look at 19:9. Matthew 19:9. Divorce and remarriage is adultery. Unless, I want you to get this real clear. Unless what?
Unless they quit being that virtuous person.
Unless they quit being that virtuous person. Adultery, fornication, desertion, abandonment, which is the same thing, refusing the... Now let me say one other thing about 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8, which teaches the responsibility of a man. If a man refuses that responsibility, all of you are familiar with it, then that woman has every right, because what has he done? He has took away from her that which belongs to her, which is the same thing as adultery, or fornication. But now, let's turn it over. If a woman leaves her husband, who is furnishing all of these things, what has she done? She has refused to submit herself to that husband, which is a God-given command. Any questions? All right, so now, desertion, responsibility, brutality, all of these things can be used in divorce and marriage. Now I want you to go to 1 Corinthians again. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, where we were last week. I'm not going to keep those down. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Verse 27. Now I want to show you something here. We're not going to go into it in detail. I'll do it 7 of chapter 7. Are you bound, art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed or loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife? Seek not a wife. Now, you know what that word bound in the Greek means? It means shackled.
I was just going to say ball and chain.
That's exactly what it means. Ball and chain. And I'm not going any further. We're going to quit right there. Are you chained? Are you tied? Are you ball and shackled to a wife? You worry about what you're supposed to do. Huh? Well, y'all look at it, and we'll go through it next time we have time. I will give you a hint. If you're shackled to a wife or a husband, you're bound, ball and chain, what are you really to that individual? Yeah, but you don't become a slave. Are you slaves running? Speak peaceably. Some things, okay. Any questions? I'm glad I lined up with this man. All right, if there's no question, no comment, no analysis, we thank you again, dear Lord, for this Lord's Day. We thank you for all that we believe in our hearts have been accomplished today. And Lord, if we haven't accomplished what you expected us to do, we ask forgiveness and ask you to help us and show us and lead us and strengthen us for the next week that's before us. Ask God that you watch over everyone.